Mrs. Van Winkle, how many children did you have enrolled in the plaintiff's daycare? Judge Judy asked sharply. We had 2 children there, the defendant replied. And how old were they? They were 8 and 6. Judge Judy leaned forward. When did they first begin attending her daycare? They started in December of 2015. And when was the final day they attended? January 13th, 2017. Judge Judy immediately turned to the issue at hand. How many weeks of daycare did you fail to pay for? I was paid up, the defendant answered quickly. Judge Judy cut her off. No, that's not accurate. According to your own answer, you admitted the plaintiff gave you 4 weeks as a gift. So at minimum, there were 4 weeks you didn't pay for. The defendant hesitated. Yes, that's correct. So at least 4 unpaid weeks, Judge Judy repeated. Yes, what I need to know, the judge continued, is the total number of weeks you didn't pay for, 4 weeks total. When was the last payment you made to the plaintiff? Around January 18th, 2017. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. You just testified that your children stopped attending on January 13th, so you're telling me you paid her after the children were already removed from daycare? Yes. How did you pay her? Check or cash? Cash. Did you always pay in cash? Yes, Mom. How much was the weekly payment? $125 per week. For both children? Yes. How much cash did you hand her on January 18th? $200. Judge Judy frowned. For what exactly? Was supposed to cover 1 week plus $50 in late fees. That math doesn't make sense, Judge Judy replied immediately. I understand. I just gave her $200 altogether. I didn't ask for change. Judge Judy shook her head. After January 2017, where did your children go for daycare? Family and friends helped us for a while until we found another provider. Who was caring for them in February? Judge Judy leaned forward. We found another daycare provider. What's her name and what were you paying? The defendant gave the name and explained they were paying $600 a month. Judge Judy folded her hands. Now explain why the plaintiff supposedly gifted you 4 weeks of free daycare. The defendant took a breath. On December 16th, when I picked up my boys, she pulled me aside and told me about an incident that happened that day. What incident? She told me one of the 11-year-old boys in her care showed my 8-year-old son pornographic videos. Judge Judy looked up immediately. On a cell phone? Yes. The plaintiff interrupted at once. That's not true. Your Honor, I never said that. Judge Judy silenced her. Quiet. The plaintiff continued carefully. That's not how it happened. Judge Judy turned back toward her. That's a very unusual story to invent. So, tell me exactly what you did say to her on December 16th. I never told her anything like that. Nothing at all? No, Mom. Judge Judy shifted back to the defendant. Did you bring your children back after December 16th? It was the weekend on the 17th. Did they return on the 18th, 19th, or 20th? On the 19th. And they continued attending until January 13th? Yes. Judge Judy asked another direct question. On December 16th, were you current on your payments? Yes. The plaintiff immediately disagreed. No, Mom, Your Honor. The defendant said quickly, I have proof showing I was current. Judge Judy extended her hand. Let me see it. The defendant pointed to the messages. The text messages are at the bottom. The plaintiff added, I have all the texts. Judge Judy read silently for a moment before speaking aloud. January 7th. You wrote no. You paid $600 on December 14th. Correct, the plaintiff answered. Judge Judy continued reading. Which minus the $50 you paid through 12/16. What does that mean? The plaintiff explained. They were supposed to pay every 2 weeks, but every single payment came late. There was always excuse that her husband hadn't been paid yet. Forget the late fees for a second, Judge Judy replied. They paid you $600 on December 14th? Yes. When was the next payment after that? That $600 was only partial payment toward $1,450 they already owed in back daycare. Judge Judy stopped her again. Quiet. The plaintiff continued carefully. The $600 was applied toward the back balance. Judge Judy held out her hand. I want to see every text message. She reviewed them closely before reading another message aloud. On January 14th you texted, What time is Josh coming to pay me? Judge Judy looked toward the defendant. You responded, as of today. The boys won't be coming to daycare anymore. Family is helping us so we can save money to move. We'll pay you as soon as we can. Sorry for the inconvenience, and thank you for everything. Yes, the defendant admitted. Judge Judy kept reading. Then the plaintiff responded, I need to be paid. This is ridiculous. My mortgage is due. I gave you guys a month of daycare and now you're not going to pay? Looks like I'll have to go to court. Then the fees will be even more. Judge Judy paused. This message clearly says she gave you a month of daycare. Why? The plaintiff answered quickly. I meant I provided them a month of daycare, not that it was free. Judge Judy pointed to the wording. But that's not what the message sounds like. It sounds like you reduced or forgave part of the balance. The plaintiff finally admitted it. Plaintiff finally admitted it. Judge Judy nodded. Then just say that honestly. Okay. So on January 15th, Judge Judy continued, you were asking to be paid for 1 month of daycare. Yes, that's what this is about? Yes, the plaintiff added. I had already given them a discounted rate. Judge Judy went back to the messages. You then wrote, I never said I wasn't going to pay you. I said I'd pay you as soon as possible. Yes, the defendant confirmed. Judge Judy continued reading aloud. Then you wrote, we are only paying the fees stated in the contract, bringing the total to $670. We'll have the money around January 25th when Josh gets paid, the defendant tried to explain. That was referring to another month. She was texting me about something different. Judge Judy cut in firmly. No, these messages are from January 17th and you respond directly to her. I didn't know how to handle the situation. The defendant replied nervously. Judge Judy answered bluntly. This is exactly how you handle it. The judge turned back to the plaintiff. How much did she actually give you on January 18th? $200 in cash. At that point, she still owed $1,450. Judge Judy shook her head immediately. She already acknowledged owing $670. She then paid you $200, leaving $470 still unpaid. And it's obvious from these texts that you reduced the amount owed by giving her 4 weeks of daycare. The plaintiff tried again. There were older balances still due. Quiet, Judge Judy interrupted. The judge stared directly at her. What I want to understand is why you gave her 4 weeks of free daycare. I did give her 4. She did, Your Honor, the defendant answered. The plaintiff insisted. She owed back daycare fees. Judge Judy motioned for silence. The plaintiff finally explained. She couldn't afford the $1,450 owed, so we agreed to cut the amount nearly in half. That's why the balance became around $650. That's not true, the defendant argued. $670, the plaintiff corrected. That's still not true. Judge Judy raised her hand. Quiet, the defendant added. I even have a witness who heard the conversation. Judge Judy dismissed the point immediately. The text messages are enough for me. Then she read the final message. On the 20th, you texted. I was thinking about this. I'll give you until the 25th to pay me. But it's $700. $50 in late fees and $650 for the care provided. You said you'd pay by the 25th, so I'll wait until then. Otherwise, I'm taking you to court. The defendant spoke up again. The amount kept changing. First it was $500, then another amount. Judge Judy nodded once. Good enough. She looked down briefly before delivering her ruling.
Judy and 6.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $470. Then, without another word, she closed the case.